10 seconds.
Good
Okay,
afternoon.
you're on.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the brand new Dr. Surajit Khanna Returning Youth Show. We are returning post-incarcerated young adults back to a productive life. That's what we're doing here, and that's what this radio show is about. We're going to be talking about how we're going to helping the young post-incarcerated youth. I have my partner with me today, Willie Sanders. He's on the phone. Say hello, Willie. And I guess Willie'll be back in a second. So please.
I'm here. I'm here with you.
All right, there you go. Get ready. When I say you're ready, jump on there, Mr. Willie.
Yeah. Right off the phone.
Please,
It's a pleasure being here.
please visit us at returningyouth.com. That's returningyouth.com. Again, we are returning post-incarcerated young adults back to a productive life. That's what we're doing. We're returning them back. We're on the air with Dr. Surajit Khanna, and we're hopeful that we're going to have Nicole join us and Clem shortly. But we'll also live on join us on AM 930 WPAT radio. You can also join us at www.wpat930am.com. It's where you can streaming audio, but you can see our wonderful faces. I hope you want to. I hope you're not scared when you see me and Willie, but you can see our wonderful faces at facebook.com/Khanna4kids, the number 4kids. Facebook.com/KHANNA, the number 4kids. Look at us there. And by the way, just if you're interested, we're on 6 other social networks. We're on 3 Facebook channels, 2 Twitter channels, and 2 YouTube channels. Hey, we're everywhere because we want to reach out to you and we'd like you to reach out to us. How can you do that? That's very simple. You just contact us at contactk.com. Contactk.com. And if you want to reach Dr. Khanna, you can also reach him at 302-746-2311. That's 302-746-2311. Yes, sponsor a young adult released from jail, reduce crime at the same time. I'm a poet and I know it. Returningyouth.com. Dr. Khanna is a child safety advocate, a servant of the underserved, and a champion of the nonprofit Voice of the Kids. We are live on WPAT 930 AM right here on your dial every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. So please come to us, share, invite your friends. And if you are interested in anything to do with post-incarcerated youth or the prison system, pre-incarceration, safety while incarcerated or post-incarcerated, or if there is an issue with crime in your city and you want help to reduce it, contact us at contactk.com because Dr. Khanna just recently launched his post-incarceration juvenile justice reformation act initiative. Boy, that's a lot of words, but I'm so used to saying it. The post-incarcerated juvenile justice reformation act initiative. But we call it in short his returningyouth.com campaign. That's returningyouth.com campaign. And you can go there and see more information about what we're doing at the returningyouth.com campaign and see how we are trying to help, what this initiative is. And for those of you who are on the internet, I'm going to share that right now so you can see it. What is the initiative? You can see it provides young adults with a pathway for reintegration into society. What is the problem? The problem is simple. 55% recidivism rate. I say that backwards. Recidivism. Let's call it the rearrest rate within 12 months. That's the national average. We've partnered with the organization in New Jersey where their rate is 5%. So, we are working with the Juvenile Justice Reformation Act of 1974 that was reauthorized in 2018. Dr. Khanna's vision is basically to have a solution. Willie, maybe you can mute for a second. Willie, maybe you can mute.
Okay.
His vision
Let
is
me see how.
his vision is to reduce recidivism while ensuring that these young adults are placed on a path to pursue a career. We want to give them a career, not just a job, okay, to stop the revolving door of rearrest and crime. And guess what? When someone commits a crime, guess what? It could be against you, your family, your business, or your friends. So a lot of people say, well, this issue doesn't affect me, but it does. It does affect everybody. So how is this different from other programs? Well, listen, we're a gold tiered program. We provide housing, food, medical, psychological, all the other treatment. We are a holistic approach that gives love and care to these post incarcerated youth. That's what we're doing. Now, I want to tell you that we have to apologize that Dr. Khanna is not going to be able to join us today because he's busy in other meetings. But he did provide to us a short video. Hey, what is today? Today is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Did you know that, Willie? You're on mute now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's a big day in the Black community. We honor him. In fact, we have a few programs that we're doing in honor of him. So it's a huge day in the Black community.
That's great. So, um, tell us a little bit what, I mean, I guess I can guess, but what does Martin Luther King mean to the Black community?
Well, he was a leader. He was
Mm.
the person that got up and had the dream of, you know, having being treated equally, being treated fairly, and he gave his life for that dream. And here in myself, my children, my family, and mostly all of the inner cities and around the world, they celebrate his birthday. It's a big day. It's a big thing.
Yeah, thank you, Willie. We appreciate that. Um, Listen, Dr. Khanna can't join us, but he did provide us with a video. I'm going to play this a couple of times during this hour. Let me show you now. Let's welcome Dr. Khanna as he gives um, a short 4-minute review of today.
For tuning in today. Unfortunately, my dear audience, I could not come live today, so I'm sending this message to Gary to play it here. Today is a very special day, and I would not miss to tell everybody to please remember Dr. Martin Luther King. Today is his actual birthday. He was born in January 15th, 1929. He was born to a family in Georgia. Then he was a very bright student. He graduated from high school at the age of 15, and then he went and got his BA degree in 1948 from Morehouse College. And then from Boston University, he got both his graduate studies and doctorate in 1953 and 1955, respectively. Also, he was married to Miss Coretta Scott and had 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Today, I would like to highlight a couple of things that is going to honor this initiative which we are doing. Number one is, being a young man, he was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. He, in fact, brought the civil rights movement in United States, but he followed the peace of Mahatma Gandhi. As we all know that his famous speech was, "I have a dream," which he gave in August 28, 1963 during the March of Washington. But regardless of that, I would like to highlight today, which kind of, like I said, is very much tuning into what we are trying to do in this initiative for the young adults, those are coming out of incarceration. And I always emphasize that the only thing which makes this initiative differentiated from others is love. We want to give love to them. They are love deprived, and that's what we want to give. And I would like to quote some of the quotations from Dr. King. He said, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to hear or bear. Then he said also, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into friend. Do you know that? King lays out everywhere that loving your enemies, that echoes through all of his speeches, if you follow that. Furthermore, in every message he gives, he builds his life that love is creative and that only love is capable of transforming hate into love. And a direct quote from Dr. King is, yes, it is the love that will save our world and our civilization, love even for enemies. So, my dear audience, this is very important message. Throughout today, we would like to emphasize that love is the only thing that can save our world, our civilization, and every single object which we are struggling today, which can serve is love. So thank you very much for listening to me, and let us give this love to the people, especially the young adults, those who are coming out of incarceration. Let us give them the love so that they can transform their life to a better US citizen. And thank you very much. God bless.
That was a great message. Thank you, Dr. Khanna. And again, I apologize that he couldn't be here. I'd like to point out a couple of things from his short speech. And Willie, I definitely want to hear your comments also. He mentioned Mahatma Gandhi. We talked about Martin Luther King Jr., who was named after Martin Luther. Those three people, Martin Luther King, and Mahatma Gandhi, they accomplished not local, not regional, not state, not country. They accomplished worldwide changes with peace. All three of them did it with peace. And that is the message we want to get through today, that peace is the way to get the true things that we need. And love is the way that we do that. So we're going to be talking a little bit about today, about Martin Luther King. But I want to get your opinion, Willie, basically about that short speech. You're on mute. You're on mute. Go ahead, Willie. Well, Willie, we can't hear you because you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, my button doesn't show all the time. I have to play with it in order to get it to show. But the point is, you got to realize the struggle of Black people over the period of time when we couldn't vote, we couldn't eat at certain restaurants, we couldn't go to certain hotels, we couldn't go on certain planes. A lot of things that we could not do as human beings. And I don't know if the Constitution had us listed as 3/4 of a human being. So we were more or less really hampered and treated unfairly. And Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream, and he just said, enough of this, and he just started with the marches, with the getting in touch with Washington, with the various presidents, and everybody united behind him. And it meant something when you have the community, the entire community, not just the community, but the entire country where Blacks were or lived, where they were just there and they all unified and got behind him. And he was a great leader. He was a great leader that got things done and was respected from all. So that meant a lot to the Blacks. I'm talking to you now and able to go in as a free man because of some of the things that he did in his time. So a lot of the young people today, they don't really know the history, so they take it very easily. The vote is very light. It's not a big thing, and not understanding that people died in order to give us a chance to vote. People went through a lot of misery, a lot of suffering for us to be free. And so that's the thing. When I think of Dr. Martin Luther King, I think of a leader. I think of someone that has helped society and helped the human race become a better people and a better place to live in for people of color.
Thank you very much, Willie. I'd like to introduce Nicole McKazik, who's now joining us, our co-host, at least for this week. She told us that she had a 99.9% chance of being here today, and she made it.
Great.
I don't know. We hope this isn't her last week. I know she's going back to school. She's been an intern. Nicole, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. You have done a fantastic job for Dr. Khanna and myself. You have your maturity for a 19-year-old is beyond measure. Uh, your work ethic is phenomenal, and you're going to do great things. I know that. So again, as you progress in your career, she's getting red here. As you progress in your career, please keep in touch with us. We will give you the best recommendations we possibly can. And I know we talked about it this morning on the Sunrise with Dr. Khanna radio, the digital show that we have. But I'd like to bring it back again and talk a little bit about Martin Luther King. I think you may have some pictures available. Why don't you take us through a couple of things that we discussed this morning, Nicole? Thank you.
Yeah, so we discussed this morning on Sunrise, and I think it is awesome to emphasize it on the radio show today as well. So today is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Martin Luther King Day is on Monday, but it's really important to emphasize that today's his birthday as well because of all the accomplishments and achievements that he did throughout of his lifetime and his career as an activist. And one thing that I think is really important to hone in on is how we discussed how he had this peaceful mindset about everything that he went through. And, you know, he wanted to bring about change. He wanted to bring this activism to the community and have people realize what's going on. But he always did that in a peaceful manner and really emphasized that throughout his entire career as an activist and so many different things that he did. So I think that's really important to spotlight while we discuss it today.
Thank you very much. Here's a picture of him giving a speech. How old would he be today, Willie? Do you know? I know because he was born 1 year before my father, and my father is going to be 93 in a couple of weeks. So he would be 94 years old today. I'm sorry he's not around, Martin Luther King. I'm sorry he's not around today to enjoy that. I want to kind of progress here to relate Martin Luther King to Dr. Khanna's initiative, the returningyouth.com initiative, where we're returning young adults back to a productive life after incarceration. You know, there is so much going on, and I want to highlight it, and I definitely want Willie and Nicole to jump in. But one of the interesting things is that we are working in Elizabeth, New Jersey. We are looking very aggressively into the Washington, D.C. area. If you like what we're doing and you want to help us, please contact us. We'd love to hear about how you can help us, how we can help the African-American youth in the inner cities. We're targeting cities. So Elizabeth is, believe it or not, the first, number 4th in crime in the state. So it's also listed as one of the 25 top crime cities in the nation, and has a large concentration of African Americans. So we're looking at that. We are looking at Montgomery County, which is in Philadelphia suburbs, and we have we've identified a post-incarcerated youth there and a house that they're going to be housed in. Willie is familiar with that situation, so we're excited about that. We are aggressively interested in Washington, D.C. So if you are interested in helping us, we are looking for properties, we're looking for post-incarcerated youth, we're looking for contacts with the police departments, the governmental agencies. In New Jersey, they're called the DVR, which is the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. They're called different things in different states, but every county in every state has a DVR or a DVR equivalent. Now, what does a DVR do? And what protection does a DVR provide for businesses that are taking these post-incarcerated people out of jail? What protection is it? Well, there's a couple of things. Depending upon the crime or the case study having to do with the individual, there's two options. One option, if it's a serious crime, they are required to go to 2 months of training, required. And then they're required after that 2 months to get forwarded to the DVR. The DVR, Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, they only place people in jobs. So part of their placement is they need a record of a case record, which would mean a history of treatment, which would mean have they seen a counselor, have they seen a psychiatrist, have they had a physical, have they had a drug test, all those things they do. In addition to the 2 months of training, depending upon how serious the crime was. And if the crime wasn't serious, it could be just 1 week of training, for argument's sake. But they get introduced to the DVR, and the DVR has, I know, like in the county where we're working with, they have over 100 vendors that are working with them to supply jobs for post-incarcerated young adults and also adults. They don't restrict it just to young adults. So the woman we were speaking to has 200 active cases in her file today. 200 active cases, right? And there's 100 companies looking to hire these people. Now, every company has different requirements. There are healthcare positions that have certain requirements. There are, truck driving situations where you have to have a license. But the point is, out of 100, you're coming out of jail, you're coming out of prison, you're coming out of halfway house, you're coming out of a drug rehabilitation. You have the opportunity to look at one of these 100 companies and say, this is the career I want. I'd like to drive a truck. I want to be a healthcare worker. I'd like to be an accountant or whatever. You have 100 choices, which is really exciting. So what happens is that organization will then forward you to you're called a vendor. A corporation's a company that's hiring these individuals are called vendors. And then that vendor knows that this person has been vetted, been treated, been counseled, been checked out in every way that possible before they are forwarded or introduced to this business. Now, the benefit to that is that, let's be honest, if you were just waiting outside of a prison just to take someone into your home or to your business, you wouldn't know what questions you would allow you to ask that person. You wouldn't even know what questions are legally you're allowed to ask that person. But the DVR has the legal right to ask a prison for the cases and for the information. So they can vet these people out. So my point is really simple. If you're listening, if you're a business in Washington, D.C., if you're a business in the Philadelphia area, if you're a business in Elizabeth area, please contact us at 302-746-2311, 302-746-2311, or contactk.com. And we will begin a relationship with you so that we can work with you with these young adults coming out of prison after they've gone through the training to be placed in our home to get medical psychological background checks, then be introduced to your company for training and hopefully a job. So the point is, you're a business, don't be afraid. People are very concerned. Oh, I don't want to hire an ex someone that's been incarcerated. There's nothing to be afraid of. These people are being vetted and these people are being cared for 24/7. With Dr. Khanna's program, there's going to be an on-site case manager 24/7. So Willie, I know if you can unmute yourself, I want to ask you a question. Uh, we have a property. You don't have to tell us what it is, where it is. Don't give the address, but tell us a little bit about. A little bit about the program. I think you identified an individual. Don't give us his or her name. Well, I know it's a male, but don't give us his name. And just tell us a little bit how you think this program's going to help this individual.
Well, the thing is that you have a lot of young people that are looking for help. In fact, we have more young people that we have to help. And just to be able to start this type of initiative and start helping, they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, right now we've identified the properties up uh, in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Got a couple of young men that are well, they will be participating in the program. They've just come home shortly. They've been home probably a couple of months, and I'm counting on them. But they're young and they need guidance, and so that's what I do. I have a lot of young men. Sometimes you come to my house and you see so many young people, and it's not just blacks, whites. It does, that we are talking to, letting them know what got them there in the first place, and now that they're home, what they can't do, people that they can't be around in their old communities where they did have troubles. But most of the time, it's because they don't have anything to do. They don't have jobs, anything that keeps them, keep them focused, keep them out of trouble, someplace to go, someplace to do. So this is why I'm very excited about the case managers, because they'll be working directly with them. And if they're taking courses for truck driving or any of the jobs that are being offered, then they have an adult that walks them through, checking on them, let them know, listen, I'm counting on you. You're going to be a great person. You're already a great person. And so right now, I'm going to monitor. I got my notes here. I see how well you're doing on the test. I see you haven't missed anything in the house. You're getting along with others really well. So that means a lot when you have a father figure or a mother figure in a young person's life, because they don't want to let you down. And what happens, the streets call them, and when they don't have any guidance in their life, a mother or a father, the streets say, hey, we love you. Come on, join this gang. This is going to be your family. And this is why the gangs are so big and running, uh, and growing, because they're telling the young people, hey, we love you. We're going to be your family. We're going to look out for you. And so that's why with this initiative, it's a good thing where we're telling them we love you. We're going to look out for you. And we're really going to look out for you. You're not going to have to worry about going back to prison or being in that environment where a lot of different things are happening that could land you back in jail. So I'm excited about it, and working with some of the young people, they're excited about it. I just see how that star in their eyes, that gleam, how they light up. And so it's just, this is going to be a great thing that's happening right now. We just need to get more properties and more places, because every place that we are, it's needed everywhere. And so I had to find my Washington ID. I had from a Washington ID that I got a decade ago, and my ID because I'm going to be going down there hopefully this Monday. So I don't know if you can see it, but I was glad to be able to find it. And
Wow, look at
this
that.
is my
That's great.
this is my clearance, and it tells you government approval. Washington. So anyway, I'm
Now,
just
yeah, can
excited.
you tell us who you're going to see down there? Who you're trying to see?
Yeah, Mayor Bowser. Mayor Bowser.
Now you have a
So
relationship with her. It goes back, but you
absolutely,
you have a relationship with
absolutely.
her. and hopefully you
So,
can
but,
go ahead. Go ahead, Willie.
well, what I'm finding is that when you're doing something in the community, something like our initiative, there are people that are looking to help you. There are people looking to get involved, and there are other programs that we can piggyback on, and that whatever they're doing, if they're doing homeless, if they're doing food, if they're doing clothing. You know, I was up at the mezzanine here in New York, and I had a pastor came up, and he says, listen, can we come here and give away coats? We have coats for the people that, you know, for the homeless. And so there's just by doing this initiative, so many other people that are looking to help, to get involved in that. When you let them know about the returning youth coming from out of the correctional system, they're ready to help them. And so I'm just excited, and with the response that I'm getting from the people that I'm speaking with, from the mayor's office on up. So I think it's going to be an
Really,
excellent.
we're praying that you have a good meeting. I know everything hasn't been firmed up because everything's crazy, but we're going to pray you walk in.
Yes, it
and
is.
make that introduction. Call me if you need to. At this point, I want to ask Nicole a question because I know Nicole's going back to school. She's a younger person, and you know, I don't know if the people in college, because I know you deal with a lot of people, Nicole, and I know you interface with the newspaper, but I'm not sure if a lot of people in college are familiar with, or they care about the inner city, or they come from the inner city. Are they familiar with crime? Are they familiar that the Black community is overrepresented in prisons and all overrepresented with being arrested and have a high rearrest rate? And do they care about, or even are they care or aware of these type of things, Nicole?
Yeah, so I really think it depends on the type of individual that you're talking about. You know, some people, especially colleges around the state, you know, this is out of state for me, it is Connecticut, even if it's, you know, only so far. It really just depends on who you're dealing with. I have friends that are from New York City that are part of, you know, it depends on how they were raised and what cultures they are and what race they are and what their upbringing was like, what they were introduced like. So I think that has a big impact on how much they know and how much they care. If you came from a very sheltered community, you might not know as much. But if you didn't, you may know more. But I think the overall wanting to help people, it's important for young adults to have, and I think a lot of people have it these days too. They don't know how, or they don't know why, but they want to greater society and help other people out. I know, just speaking as an individual myself, that's one of the most important things that I feel like is embedded within myself. So I think that answered your question. I think it really just depends on the type of individual and how their upbringing was.
Thank you very much. I think that's really true. We have to know a little bit more about this situation. I think we are. I told you before we were going to play the video from Dr. Khanna. He couldn't join us because of he's in meetings. So I wanted to play his video again. It's just a 4-minute video in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, which is today. So here we go.
For tuning in today. Unfortunately, my dear audience, I could not come live today, so I'm sending this message to Gary to play it here. Today is a very special day, and I would not miss to tell everybody to please remember Dr. Martin Luther King. Today is his actual birthday. He was born in January 15th, 1929. He was born to a family in Georgia. Then he was a very bright student. He graduated from high school at the age of 15, and then he went and got his BA degree in 1948 from Morehouse College. And then from Boston University, he got both his graduate studies and doctorate in 1953 and 1955, respectively. Also, he was married to Miss Coretta Scott and had 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Today, I would like to highlight a couple of things that is going to honor this initiative which we are doing. Number one is Being a young man, he was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. He, in fact, brought the civil rights movement in United States, but he followed the peace of Mahatma Gandhi. As we all know that his famous speech was I Have a Dream, which he gave in August 28, 1963 for during the March of Washington. But regardless of that, I would like to highlight today, which kind of, like I said, is very much tuning into what we are trying to do in this initiative for the young adults, those are coming out of incarceration. And I always emphasize that the only thing which makes this initiative differentiated from others is love. We want to give love to them. They are love deprived, and that's what we want to give. And I would like to quote some of the quotations from Dr. King. He said, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to hear or bear. Then he said also, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into friend. Do you know that King lays out everywhere that loving your enemies, that echoes through all of his speeches, if you follow that. Furthermore, in every message he gives, he builds his life that love is creative and that only love is capable of transforming hate into love. And a direct quote from Dr. King is, yes, it is the love that will save our world and our civilization, love even for enemies. So my dear audience, this is very important message. Throughout today, we would like to emphasize that love is the only thing that can save our world, our civilization, and every single object which we are struggling today, which can serve is love. So thank you very much for listening to me, and let us give this love to the people, especially the young adults, those who are coming out of incarceration. Let us give them the love so that they can transform their life to a better US citizen. And thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Khanna. That was a great message having to do with today's Martin Luther King birthday. He was born in 1929, and I was wrong. He's not going to be, he would not be 94 today, Willie. He would be 92. My father's he was born in 1928, and he's going to be 93 in a few weeks. So I wish Dr. King was still around, just like, but I'm very happy and I'm also happy my father is. So there's a lot going on with what we're trying to accomplish. We have to be honest. When you look nationwide with all the programs, all the money being spent, all the work that's being done, and we still have a 55% rearrest rates after within 12 months of people who come out of incarceration, something has to be done. A different approach needs to be taken. And how is Dr. Khanna's approach different? And I think people need to really understand how we're different. We are providing a holistic approach. Today, there are options that people coming out of prison are giving a choice, but they're not really counseled. They're pointed in a direction, but their hands are not being held. You know, people tell us really clearly that what is the one thing that people learn most when they're in prison? And the answer that comes back is they learn how to become a better criminal. They don't learn how to become a truck driver, a worker, or a plumber, or an accountant, or anything. They learn how to be a bigger and better criminal. Why? Because the people that they're interfacing with are criminals, and that's all they're around. So the organization we've worked with in New Jersey that has a 5% recidivism rate Okay. And that's not out of the 12 months, that's out of the year of its 20-year program. They say that when people come, young adults come into the program, their mindset is, how can I game the system? How can I get by? How can I use this? How can I figure this out to use this to my advantage? And what happens is they're not, they don't understand that this is benefiting them. But through time, they begin to open their eyes saying, well, wait a second, me trying to get around, trying to fool around, trying to figure out how I can get by or do something illegal is not to my benefit. The example is simple. One example is when people come out of the DVR, the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, and get forwarded to one of our vendors, which is a truck driving school. They their job upon graduation is $50,000 to $55,000 a year. Now that's not flipping hamburgers. That's not McDonald's. That's not a Starbucks job. That's more of a high tier job that you're making. But they also have the availability with investment to own your own truck, and then you own your own business. Then you're making $150,000 or even more a year. These are the type of opportunities that open these kids, these young adults' eyes and change them. It changes them from trying to game the system to trying to work to better their lives. That is how Dr. Khanna's program is different. That's how we are providing a holistic approach with love, because we hold their hands for a 2-year period. We'll take them into our facility, we'll get them training, get them a job. In 6 months, we're going to ask them to move out because they have a job already. They already can afford to move out. But our relationship will maintain with them in terms of case management and seeing how they're doing for 2 years afterwards. So it's when we were talking to the district attorney in one of the counties in New York, the response we got was, this is a gold plated program. We are meeting with the police department in Elizabeth next week. We're excited about that. Again, contact us at 302-746-2311 if you want to be a part of the program in Elizabeth. We're looking for housing. We're looking for multiple houses. So if you have a house we'd like to rent, that you understand this program, these kids are very secure. There's a high degree of security and supervision for these kids. Willie, give us a little background of some of the stuff that you'd recommend, that the kind of supervision these kids should have.
Well, you're going to be dealing with young men, and we had a young gentleman on the program a couple of days ago, and he had I did a stint, if you want to call it, or he just he didn't just get out, but he went down for armed robbery, and he told his whole story on that program. And dealing with this young man, the young people, they want to feel as though that they're being accepted as equals. They don't want to be as if, we are looking down on them. I'm just basing it off with this young man that I saw with him. He was a little, he was open, but he kept saying, I was always a leader. I was always, doing this on my own. I was able to, get this, and I was the leader. And so I noticed that about him. So I started speaking with him, basically uh, um, applauding him as being able, even though he went to prison, he got a culinary degree I think he said while he was in jail. So I complimented him on that, and it just made the difference between our relationship, because I could see the good in him. And as I spoke with him, and we talked about, as he got arrested, the police pulled guns on him and everything, and I explained to him that he's a miracle being here, because if if you had a record that you were armed and dangerous, or you did some type of robbery, um, it's just a blessing that you're here, because if they think that you're armed, or you're dangerous, they don't you don't really get a second chance. So I told him it's a miracle that he's here. And as I spoke with him, he was very, very happy about the program that we are proposing to him. And he on his phone, he had close to 4,000 views of his print that that was listening in to him being on the radio. And so we just explained to him that anyone that needs help, needs counseling, someone that may need somebody to talk to, all they got to do is get in touch with us, because you know whether you know it or not. And I always thought the rent was important. I always thought bills and keeping food on the table. And the young people, that's not, they're going through a lot, and they're going through a lot of pressure, but that's not one of their real issues that they're, going through about. They're going through about just being on the street. This area, if I wear blue in this area, I could get shot. If I wear red in this area, I could be killed. So when they go out, it's a different world for them. I put on my shirt and tie, and I get in my car, or if I have to walk down the street, that's a common thing. With them, they're worried about, I got to wear the right colors in order to get from A to B. And if I don't, I'm just history. And you hear the deaths, you hear of all the deaths, the murders and things like that. So I was just very excited to be able to reach and touch this young man and let him know that there is help. We are here to help, and ask what did he think about the program? And he thought it was needed. He said this was needed because when they come out of prison, they tell them, you got to stay employed, you got to get a job, and you got to stay in touch with your probation officer, and you have to have somewhere to live. And
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, so I'm just excited about
Oh, thank you,
the
Ruben.
initiative. Absolutely.
Uh, I'm going to introduce Nicole. Nicole, I know we've been getting some endorsements. We always want more. We have one specific lined up. Nicole, give us some background, please.
Yeah, sure, of course. So we've been getting a lot of endorsements from individuals that are advocating and endorsing the initiative in itself and are supporting all the work that comes with it. So, we've had one specifically that I'd like to focus on is Benny Tillman, and he's a huge supporter for the initiative. He's an African-American musician, and he's a philosophy teacher, and he really is supporting all of the initiatives. So I think it's really also important to emphasize that if there's anyone else out there that really supports what Dr. Khan is doing and what we're doing as a team, I think you should get involved. I think you should endorse it and get involved, because it's helping towards a good cause, and it's helping towards people who need help.
Benny Tillman is an African-American musician and a prominent international teacher of Vedic philosophy and yoga. He started performing with rock and roll bands in the late 60s as one of the only African-American musicians in that genre of music. In the mid-60s, as an R&B drummer for local Atlanta soul bands, he performed in all the local clubs. After taking up the practice of yoga, Mr. Tillman co-founded a contemporary mantra rock band named the Murari Band, releasing several cassettes, albums, and CDs. Around 1972, he came in contact with Vedic philosophy and culture and was trained as a leader to help the Black community. This instruction has constantly inspired him to expose this philosophy to the urban communities in regard to universal love. He is currently still performing with the Murari Band at local festivals, including the nationally known Chantlanta Festival. This is what he has to say about Dr. Surajit Khanna's returning youth movement.
My name is Benny Tillman, and I'm an old friend of Dr. Surajit Khanna's. And I've come to know about his program, Returning Youth to Society. And I've had the experience of working with youth, gang members and adjudicated youth, providing jobs for them in the Atlanta area, and working with organizations like United Way and some other organizations to focus on the youth. And when I heard about Dr. Khanna's program and the team that he's assembled, quality team that he's assembled, I was very encouraged to think that something like this could be made available for young people. Because I have seen in my work that when you make the program available for them, not the jails, but an actual practical program for their lives, they really shine. And that having faith in the youth, providing opportunities for them, and most specifically, assembling quality people to work together, which Dr. Khanna is expert at doing. I've seen him do it so many times. Government people, religious people, business people, I've seen him do that so many times. And I think that America is blessed to have someone like Dr. Khanna and his team, to have this program Returning Youth, to make it available for our young people, especially coming out of the juvenile justice system or just the regular jail system. This is going to be something very beneficial for society. So I would highly encourage everyone to please consider joining with us with your intelligence, with your background, with your resources. This is a wonderful opportunity. And thank you so much, Dr. Khanna and your team. Namaste.
Benny Tillman.
That's one of our endorsements we've had. We've had Donna Hilton, we've had Benny Tillman, and we have Abiodun Oleowe, who is credited with being the founder of hip hop music, which is pretty exciting. Matter of fact, Benny told us that that was one of his idols. So that was pretty exciting. So we definitely we're touching the heart of many African Americans who are really seeing this as a problem. They're seeing that it hasn't been fully addressed, and they're tired of the revolving door. They're tired of crime, increased crime, losing the black men, having them overrepresented in prisons, not being around for their friends, for their family, to not being around for working situations. These are all, it's a domino effect that you take somebody out of society or group of people or type of person out, it affects the whole society. And the one that's most overrepresented is black males. So that's our target market to help, because we want to get back to family. We want to get back to church or whatever. We want to get back to working. We want to get the prisons emptied. And the only way to do that is with love and to provide the proper support and to show these people that, hey, if I can do some work on my own and get by on my own, I don't need a handout. I want a hand up. So give me a hand up. So we're looking for a vaccine for high recidivism, a vaccine for high recidivism. And it's not a vaccine you inject in somebody, it's a vaccine via a program. And that program is returningyouth.com. That's returningyouth.com. Go there and connect with us. See what we're doing. Visit voiceofthekids.org, which is the nonprofit organization that all funding goes through. Please go to voiceofthekids.org or returningyouth.com and donate for this cause. Willie and I are working on a number of pretty exciting things. We can't give you all the details, but we have believe it or not, we have 3 different producers interested in doing some type of documentary or reality TV show about what we're doing. So we're excited about working with them. We're excited about getting introduced to some very world famous people that have sent their representatives to talk to Willie, to talk to us, to talk to Dr. Khanna. And we're in the beginning stages of all of that, but you're going to hear about this to a very large degree. Nicole, I just wanted to ask your opinions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Willie. We only got like, let me see, 2.5 minutes left. Go ahead, Nicole.
Opinion about the initiative? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm cutting out. Yeah, I think this initiative is something that I'm extremely proud to be involved with. And I think even though I'm going back to school and I'm transitioning kind of out of that internship role, I think it's still going to be very important to spread the word and to talk about it. Hey, this is what I did over break, because you're helping other people out. You're helping, like I said before, towards a greater cause. So it's something I'm super proud about, and I think it's built off a foundational, amazing management team, and I think it could go very far, and it should go far because it's helping other people.
Okay, please contact us at 302-746-2311, 302-746-2311, or at contactk.com. Hey, it's really simple. Contactk.com, fill out the form, and get in touch with us. We only have about 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Willie, take us out, please.
Well, I just want to say to all of our listening audience, listen, tune in to on Tuesday from 3:30 to 4. You'll hear Dr. Khanna. You'll hear more about the program. Just tune in at 3 o'clock, because we're letting everybody know about the initiative that's going on. And so we thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to you tuning in not only on Tuesday, Wednesday, and every Friday from 3 to 4. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Willie. So listen, let me give that information again. Listen, it's Dr. Surajit Khanna's returningyouth.com campaign, and it's part of the Post-Incarceration Juvenile Justice Reformation Act of 2018. Look it up. It's been around since 1974. And what has it accomplished? I'm not sure. So we're here to accomplish something. And you can help us by going to returningyouth.com. You can donate there. Please donate to help a post-incarcerated young adult back into a successful life, return them back into society. That's returningyouth.com. Thank you.